Good morning, traders. Today is Monday, July 11th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. Okay, so going into the morning right now, I would say my highest probability in my mind for the market today is some form of balance. There's two ways we could balance. We could either rotate around inside yesterday's range, inside this general area, which would become a balance area, or we could pull back with price, heading down to repair the weak M period low we left behind on the 6th, and then looking for support around the previous balance area high. So breaking out of that previous balance area, this move here is what we call excess. Excess often leads to balance. So once we're finished making the up move, we either need to go sideways to balance off the up move, or we need to pull back down with price to where it started, to where the excess began, looking for support there. It's just two different ways to balance off excess, and we don't know which it'll be. So why do I think we're going to get that today? Well, the first signal is the fact that the momentum was slowing yesterday, with the value area only being overlapping to higher, whereas the previous day it was completely higher. So that's sort of a first signal that the momentum might be coming to an end. It doesn't mean it's over. It shows that the trend is still intact, but that it might be coming to an end. And then the fact that the overnight pulled us all the way back down towards Friday's lows is another signal to me that we're not ready to go higher just yet, and we may need to spend some time balancing in here. So the first thing to pay attention to when the market opens this morning is going to be yesterday's low. I do suspect that this is going to become a balance area, and so we'll be looking for support. We'll be looking for support somewhere in this area between yesterday's low and the overnight low. If we're just going to rotate around sideways today, this should be the area where the market finds support this morning. So the first thing I'm watching is, do we push below yesterday's low? If so, that is a little bit bearish, and we're looking to see, can we come down and test the overnight low? So push below yesterday's low. Do we come down and test the overnight low? If we do not find support around that overnight low, that would be bearish to me to head lower and repair the weak reference we left behind at 38.41. But if we can find support anywhere in here, I will be looking for chop. I'll be looking for the market to just grind around sideways. So what would get me bullish? Well, to truly get me bullish, they would have to get above yesterday's high. But as far as I'm concerned, if they can get above this node right here, so if they can get above, say, 39.07, come back down and find some support, that would be good for continuation higher as far as I'm concerned. Anywhere in between, so anywhere essentially above the overnight low and below that big node, I would just expect chop this morning. The market to just grind up and down, and kind of just bounce between support resistance. Okay? So very high probability of chop here in the first hour of the day, unless we get below yesterday's low, below Friday's low. Then the target becomes testing the overnight low. Let's see what the market's got for us. Overnight inventory is net short, so we would be expecting a counter auction to the upside. How far up can it go before it gets resistance? First major node of resistance is going to be right here, around 38.87. If you have not yet, please smash that thumbs up button. Give me a quick little like. Thumbs up if you like the chop. So remember, anytime the overnight inventory is completely one direction or another, in this case it was completely bearish or completely net short. If we're expecting chop, if we're expecting that the market doesn't know where it's going to go in the morning, it should be able to get back to the zero line. So if they can't get back to the zero line here, that would be a little bit bearish. All right, so there we go. The chop has begun. First wave of resistance has set in. So once again, if we break yesterday's low, 38.71, we're looking to see what happens at the overnight low. Do we find support in there? Okay, a little bit bearish, getting below yesterday's low. Looking for support between here and the overnight low, 38.67. If that overnight low breaks and we get resistance, that is the market telling us they need to repair the excess we created over the last 3 days using price, not time, increasing the odds of a repair of 41. Okay, we're now looking for resistance at yesterday's low, 38.71, which would be bearish. All right, folks, resistance at the overnight low is bearish. Feels like we might need a pullback to repair that weak reference. Down there at 41. Okay, more resistance at the overnight low. It's bearish. Well, it's worth noting we haven't had any liquidation yet. We haven't had any panic. So right now it just feels like it's overnight shorts have not yet taken profit. And we got some new sellers piling on, but no real panic in the market yet. Increasing the odds of a continuation of this slow melt lower. Rocket big NQ short win. Congrats. You may have gotten out early. Yeah, man. NQ could head down towards 18 or 11,818. Looking for support in there. Okay, once again, looking for resistance at the overnight low. Look at the hourly on NQ. Yeah, that thing can keep going, my man. Down into this support. But I know you're a scalper. Take them profits quick. Okay, the support is becoming a volume cliff. It can hold as long as it can hold, but if it breaks, you'll get a little pop lower. You'll get a little long liquidation there, as that would be short-term traders buying that exact reference over and over again. Round 3, they're trying once more. Same exact spot. Skewball, would I call it good taper? I would actually call it acceptable taper right now. Generally, I like to see more than 100 contracts on the low, but it's a matter of this little volume cliff now breaking. Can that hold? Or will it break? And if it breaks, Don't know who's buying this. But they're fixing to get squeezed. There we go. Now we start to liquidate those weak hands buyers from 57. And we now look for that node to become resistance. Okay, so now we're looking for resistance in this node as those weak hands buyers are getting an opportunity to get out without a loss. New sellers piling on. NQ getting itself into oversold territory here. On the ticks. Scooball, great observation. We have not really had any liquidation. We had a little pop for about maybe 5-6 points, but that is not the liquidation. The liquidation will be multiple panicky drops. And if we haven't got it yet, we know there's still some weak hands holding this market long. 7 Mile Ridge. It may be getting oversold, but I'm not buying. Of course not. But you're using a bounce if it's oversold to look to sell. Look for that sweet, sweet resistance. Okay, so now that we got the ticks back to the zero line and they're starting to push back above, we're looking for that slap down, pushing them back below the zero line. All right, so buyers are trying to defend here. They're starting to hold it up above the zero. Can they hold it? Obviously, the higher probability is that they will not, that they will run out and start to sell off again. All right, well, resistance becomes support. So we're now testing the next resistance at the overnight low, 38.63. Lamest gap and go. Yeah, there's no gap. We opened inside the previous day's range. No, this is a what's it called? Balancing off excess with time, or sorry, with price instead of time. Right. So anytime the market is in a balance area, right? Anytime it's bouncing around in a range, we're looking for excess. We're looking for the market to break out of that range one direction or another. Okay. We had a 3-day balance where the market was bouncing around for 3 days. Then we broke out. We had 3 days of excess to the upside. So that's the excess. 3 days of balance led to 3 days of excess. What does excess lead to? Balance. So we would expect to either go sideways at higher prices, which would be balancing using time, or pull back down to the top of the previous balance area. That's balancing using price. So in my mind, that is what we are doing, which basically means we need to repair this weak M period low at 38.41 and then look for support at that previous balance area high. What would convince me that I'm wrong? Getting back above the opening price for today. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it, brother. Michael, are your balance areas value area high, value area low, or range? My balance areas are completely abstract. I just kind of eyeball it. And I can show you that a bit later. I don't want to mess with the chart right now because I got everything drawn. But yeah, I'll point it out later. I just visually look at the chart and see where did it spend the most time and bring in the most volume. And that is generally where I would assume we're in a balance area. And then I look for the edges of that. So where, at what level when it gets above there and pulls back down, does it sell off to the opposite end and so on and so forth? But like I said, I'll point that out later on in the day. Once we get down to the balance area high. More like merged profiles, yeah, but I just mean there's no exact thing. It's a visual thing. So once again, buyers trying to defend, trying to turn this into support. They didn't have enough buyers in the A period. Don't know why they randomly think they'll be here in the B period. Alexandra, I need a black Monday for my shorts. Yeah, I don't, like I said, that balance area high, 38.33, that is going to be good, strong support. So I don't think you're going to get much further downside continuation than that. W Fighter Pilot likes to triple digits. It's a great idea. Do we have two brave souls willing to give me a thumbs up so we can puncture those triple digits and be kings? There it is. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. All right, buyers taking another poke at the overnight low. It's worth noting that the value area is now completely below yesterday's value area. So that is a sign that obviously the momentum to the upside is gone, and we may be beginning momentum to the downside. Also, with the fact that the value area is bumping right up against the low of the day, I find that is often a signal we have not had enough excess to the downside. And the market's got further down to go. Which is a little bit bearish to see. And so you say, well, Charles, the buyers are trying to defend. Look at those ticks. They're pumping. They're really trying to hold this low. What do they got to do to make this a good low? They would have a lot of work ahead of them. So first they got to get through the resistance at the overnight low, then the resistance at the half back. So then they'll have a nice easy break to get back up to yesterday's low because they got those low volume nodes. But boom, resistance there once again. Do we really think that these are smart buyers, strong hand swing traders getting long in here? Are they going to hold through all that resistance? Likely not. So I remain bearish as long as we remain below yesterday's range, Friday's range. The tempo might feel slow, but there is a battle being fought right now. The buyers continue to buy this node right around 57. It's about the fifth time today they've bought it, but they keep getting nothing for it. Just these tiny little bounces. So at what point do those buyers just give up and get liquidated? Here they go again. Weak hands, every buyer taking profits as soon as they can. AD Joshua, summer trading, smaller ranges and chop until the news on Wednesday. If we're going to have a rotational day where we just go sideways, we got to get above that opening price and find support up there. Otherwise, I still think we're heading down towards the previous balance area high. The general idea is if we had enough buyers to rotate up inside Friday's range, they should have stepped in this area here. The fact that they did not means we got to step down to this area here looking for those buyers. And right now, this is just short-term traders that keep trying to get the market to reverse right here. And eventually they'll figure out they're wrong and they got to wait for the stronger hand buyers. It's only a matter of time. I'm so sorry. That may have hurt your ears. I apologize. Buyers once again at 57. Will they ever learn? All right, are we finally going to get that liquidation that we've been waiting for? That sweet, sweet squeeze. Uh-oh, running out of buyers. Okay, pour low, increasing the odds of continuation to the downside. And watch how quick we squeeze those buyers. They're convincing themselves right now, oh no, it's a double bottom on the 5 minute. Oh, I should buy it. That's what they're saying. Oh, little push away, looking for that resistance. Can you feel it? The hairs on the back of your neck are standing up. This market's about to freak out any second. Fighter pilot, correct. No excess. That is a poor low. In need of repair. Repairing it would get the initial balance going to the downside, which is bearish. Man, I genuinely feel bad for these buyers. Chilling with Dylan. POC come down? No, not anytime soon. I guess when we print the C period, it will. But the POC doesn't matter yet, right? Right now, our focus is which direction do we break the initial balance, and then do we get continuation in that direction? Scooball, if we don't get liquidation below that poor low, I'm out of my short. It's got to happen eventually. All morning, every buy has been good for maybe a 5-point bounce at best. These buyers will quit. I genuinely don't understand why they're still buying the same level again, even though it's given them nothing all day long. Gluttons for punishment, I suppose. Okay, so with the printing of the C period here, we're looking for that C period to break the poor low to the downside. And then the market will begin one-time framing lower, which would be a trend to the downside. If the C period is able to get its way back above the opening price, above 38.73, that would get me neutral. And of course, if they were able to get the C period above the E period high, I'd be bullish for a trend to the upside. But obviously, the higher probability here is continuation to the downside. Why, Charles? Why, oh, why? Well, there's only, the most likely thing we knew coming into today was balance, right? Two ways to balance. This is the excess from here to here. So there's two ways to balance it off. We either rotate at higher prices or we pull back with price, looking for support at the area that we broke out of. So that would be around the 38.30s. Okay. So that to me is what's going on right now, is that the market knows the stronger hands, the better buyers, the real liquidity is waiting down here. And so the market's trying to head down and get that liquidity. And the short-term traders, the day traders like you and me, we're trying to hammer out a bottom. And that's what we've got, is the push-pull between those two concepts. So I remain bearish below yesterday's low, neutral if we get back above the open, and bullish if we can get above the open and find support up there. With that, I bid you all farewell. Wish you the best of luck for the rest of the day, and we'll see you again here tomorrow morning. If you're a member of the brigade, let's ride.